Kia ora, good morning. Hang on, I'm just pouring my coffee. Just been letting it percolate. Nothing like fresh brewed coffee in the morning. So I've just woken up. I had a dream, and it's like, oh, this is God's way of. So, well, actually, it's probably Dad's because it's my dad's birthday today. He would have been 88, and 88 is a synchronicity for me because it means double infinity. It's 88 is one of the years that is one of my algorithms for finding my perfect match. 1988. Yeah, it's one of the years for my algorithm. But it's my dad's birthday. And considering my dad was the one that raised me on the musicals, I'm guessing he's the one that's made me have this dream. But anyway, the dream started with me watching the news on, like I turned on my TV and it was the news. But it was the news from, from my school, from Fire, my news network. And they were announcing Dork the Musical. They were talking about Dork the Musical, the premiere of Dork the Musical. And the logo came up on the side for the news network and it was November Rain. So my you know how my production company is Faraday Productions? My TV company that has all the TV broadcasts and that, my TV company was called November Rain. November Rain Broadcasting. But it was REIGN because I'm Scorpio. So like the November Queen, basically, was the name of the TV company. So I've woken up and like in the couple of minutes that I've been awake, like I saw part of the musical, and now I'm like, I'm being told, my dad's saying, do the musical, sit down, because like I came up with the premise of Dork the Musical, was it last year or the year before, but I never gave it any attention. I just left it in the background because I'm dreading working on it because it's a musical. And back then, I didn't know how the hell I was going to write a musical because I'm not a composer or anything like that. But then, of course, we lost Amber, and through my love of my girl, I came up with all the music. I composed the music for, well, most of the music for the start of the Amber Rose, my animated movie about my, like our version of a Disney princess movie. So I composed the music myself. So it's like, okay, so now I know I can compose. It's just a matter of sitting down with musicians that can help me get it out, put it on sheet music and that to hand to the musicians, and then obviously I need to look for singing and dancing talent. But I've been putting it off. It's our version of, a High School Musical. I had it can absolutely be turned into a Broadway musical, as can Miss Amber's School of Alchemy. I put up a post before I went to sleep of this theatre with big puppet, like inflatable King Kongs and all of that on the stage for a Broadway theatre production. So I know that Miss Amber's School of Alchemy can also be turned into like a Broadway musical as originally intended. We're just going to have to be very creative when we come up with how we're going to portray like 30-foot Ibizus and stuff like that, but it absolutely can be turned into a musical. But I've been putting this one off because this was the first musical. But like Seven Brides for Seven Brothers and Jesus Christ Superstar in Greece and that, it's a movie musical. And I was putting it off. But now I guess with my dad's birthday and 88 coming up, and because 88 is also like yin and yang, so like mirror images. So it's a movie and a musical, and I guess I'm being told, do it, like just work on it, please. So I've been sitting here while I've been, burning my oils and lighting my incense and getting my coffee brewed and faffing about getting myself ready for the day. So this is the storyline I'm coming up with. This is going to be the premise for Dork the musical. There's a boy, think Billy Elliot, and he's raised in a town. He's raised in a place where he's expected to be a farmer. Because his father was a farmer, his grandfather was a farmer, his great grandfather was a farmer, his great great grandfather was a farmer, and he's a boy and he's expected to be a farmer. But his grandmother, whenever she looked after him, she played all the musicals. She would put on the albums and play all the musicals to him. She met her husband, his grandfather, singing in the theatre and blah blah blah. But because he's a boy, he's expected to be a farmer, and all that sort of thing. So he's hassled by his father. He's hassled by, but you've got to take, who's going to take over the business when I'm dead, blah blah blah, and putting the guilt on him. Boys don't sing and dance. We can put that into the song. Boys, do, they don't sing and dance. But father, I was born to dance. And then he's going to be at school. And he's like, I don't know, secretly learning to dance, watching the cheerleaders and stuff. And his like he's doing things secretly at school, but he's scared of getting caught. He's having to hide like his cheerleader's jersey, or I don't know, you know what I mean, like he's having to hide it because if his parents ever found out, like he's struggling between doing what he loves and doing what's right by family tradition, sort of thing. So then his school counsellor comes to him and she's like, hey, like, I don't know, like I was thinking maybe like he's planning on running away, or, he's planning on, think, because Lewis runs away, so I don't want to do the running away theme too much. Lewis in with a little help from my friends. He's really down. He's suffering from depression. His schoolwork's struggling. He's not sleeping. He's really depressed. So there's going to be some talent show, and he thinks if I just show my dad how much I love to sing and dance, he'll be proud of me, and he'll let me go and go to art school and all that sort of thing. And he does it, and his dad gets up and walks away. Although his grandmother and mother are really proud of him, but he's embarrassed. And then they have this big argument, and then like he runs off for the night, and the parents are arguing. If you only supported him, just let him go off and live his dream, because the mum realises then that this kid's got talent and it can't be wasted, and his potential, like just let him try, and if it doesn't work out then he can come back, and the father's like, no, because it'll turn out that the father also has a talent for singing, and I'll put that in the movie. Okay, I'm literally working this out as I talk. But his father, the boy's granddad, did the same thing to him, and he chose the farm. And so now the father's bitter that the boy is reminding the dad of his dream to be on stage. Maybe he had a band in the 60s, or no, how old would his dad be? Like in the 70s or something. And, or no, if he's a teenager, 80s or 90s. Oh no, maybe his dad maybe his dad was in a band in the 80s or 90s or something, and his father said to him, no, you have to work on the farm, and he didn't fight for his dream, and so now he's a little bit bitter and jealous and that his son has the guts to fight for his dream. But he's also scared that if his son doesn't step up, they're going to lose the farm or something, because, you know, I'm not getting any older. I've got maybe 20 years left before my knees are going to give out and my elbows are giving out. I can't work these machines, blah, blah, blah. And he doesn't come home that night, and the school knows that he went missing, but he turns up at school in the same clothes because he slept out under the stars or something, trying to think of what the hell to do. And the teacher says to him, you need a break, you need to get away, blah, blah, blah. There's this school in Switzerland or South Dakota, wherever it is, I'm going to have it, that you can go to. It's a creative arts school. Go there for a year. Okay, that's it. The teacher comes up with a plan, and she says to the parents, I've got an idea of what we can do, but you're all going to have to be on board. There's this school called Fire, and it's in Switzerland, or we're in Switzerland or South Dakota, right? He can go there for a year, and they will nurture his talent. And if he's got a talent, they'll bring it out in him. He can go there and sing and dance. Fire will give him a great big chance. I mean, that's not the lyrics. I'm just, you know, I'm just thinking a musical. And if it turns out he has a talent, he'll be signed up to their talent agency. He'll be able to make the money. You never know, he'll be able to make enough money to support the farm. Or if it turns out it's not for him, then he agrees to run the farm, help his dad. So they agree, yeah, Dad, come on, let's do it. I promise, like, if it turns out I'm not very good or it's not for me, but you have to give me a chance. I need to know if I can dance. So the dad agrees. All right, fine. So the dad lets him go, and then he's off on this big adventure from, like, small town Idaho or something to, well, small town South Dakota, or Switzerland. And then when he's there, he realises that he's not a dork, he's just like everybody else. Because he gets bullied and picked on for, you know, wanting to sing and dance. Oh, you're gay, you're this, you're a dork, you're weird, you're blah. Maybe he looks, I think maybe what I might want him to look like a footballer, you know, quite tall and strong, and, you know, but he loves musicals. He was raised listening to musicals. His grandmother and his great-grandmother and that, they used to play all the musicals. He grew up listening to jazz and classical and, you know, listening to all the musicals on the record and on TV, and we'll do like a whole montage of when his great-grandmother dies or something, of, you know, when they used to sit in front of the TV when he was wee, and she'd put the videotapes on of Grease and all of that, and they'd sing and dance in the kitchen. Don't you understand? When I sing and dance, it reminds me of my Mima, my Meemaw or something. The funny thing was, when I woke up, I went to X to check the news, and there was this whole thing about Axl Rose trending with people jobbing him, saying that he looks like a grandma. and showing a snippet of a concert he's doing at the moment. People talking about him aging and looking like a grandma. And remember, Guns N' Roses did November Rain. So I'm taking that as a sign to call my TV company. So my production company is Fairyland Productions, but my TV company that will produce like my shopping channel, When the Bell Breaks, soap opera, all that sort of thing. Like the BBC, but it'll be November Rain. REIGN. November Rain Broadcasting. REIGN. As in like regal. So then the kid's going to go to fire. And, it'll be, that's when the fame side of it comes in, fame, I'm going to live forever. The TV show that absolutely blew my mind as a kid. I friggin' loved that show. Me and my sister Erin, oh my God. And then my sister Laurie bought the album, and we knew every song off by heart on the album. And it was where I learned to fall in love with Laurie Singer's character. I've talked about this a lot, playing the cello. That's when I fell in love with the cello. I'd never really paid attention to that sort of thing until Fame came out. So then this kid, yet to be named, is going to go to fire, and he's not a dork, he's just like everybody else. And it's like, hey, don't worry, guy. If we're going to be dogs, we'll be all dogs together. Break into dancing song, jazz hands. Ooh, yeah, let's be dogs together. Raising the freak flag, which is a real flag that I designed. Um, so I'm going to need choreographers. I'm going to need choreographers for the cabaret and that as well, but I'm going to need a team of choreographers, a team of musicians and that who can help me write the bloody thing. And then we can film it all at fire. Because the more we can film at fire, the cheaper the cost. So, yeah, so he'll go there, he'll be in with his own crowd, and then it's going to turn out that he was born to be a star. And he gets like, movie deals and record deals, and then he can pay to save his family farm. Like he buys the land, or I don't know, or a cousin steps in and says, look, don't worry about it. Um, okay, right, that's it. So everything's going really well for him, and he's like, he doesn't really want to go back home because he's doing really well. He's been signed up to Fire's talent agency, like he's going to be getting work and working, and like they're saying, you need to stay here and come and work at our theatre and stuff at least for another year, blah blah blah. But what about my dad? So we'll have it so that when he goes to his dad, he goes home for Christmas and he's like, I want to sign up for another year, like, musical, blah, 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 but I don't know what to do. And the dad says, it's okay, while you were gone, your cousin came to help me, and it turns out he loves the job. It turns out he's good with the animals. It turns out he needed the money. It turns out blah, blah, blah. And he's like, well, I'll help you pay his wages, like I'm making money now, Dad, and all of that. And then it's like, yeah. And then they hug, and then they sing together, and he's like, I didn't know you could sing, Dad. I used to be in a band, son, but I didn't listen to my heart. I did the right thing, and I've regretted it ever since. It's not that I don't love your grandfather, it's just I always felt I was born to sing too, but I took a different road. And the reason why I'm the way I was with you is because I have so many regrets about, what would have happened if, what would have happened if. But I'm proud of you, son, because you followed your heart. That sort of thing. I'm not going to make it all cheesy. I've never actually seen High School Musical. I've seen like snippets. We were born together or whatever it was. In it together. Something like that, is it? We were something together. Whatever it was. Zac Efron, was it? That's the first time I ever knew who he was. I need someone like him, but less kind of Justin Bieber. He needs to be someone like, Footloose. You can tell I was obsessed with movies growing up as a kid, eh? Footloose. Remember Chris Penn's character? Tall, the sort of kid that you'd expect to be the quarterback. Wearing the overalls because he's from this farm and that, like, he needs to be tall. He needs to be built like a football player or a rugby player or something. Completely goes against type. Not the sort of guy that you would expect to like be able to have an incredible singing voice and dance at the same time. Don't know a name for him yet, but that's Dork the musical. And it's basically sending a message: follow your heart, live your dream, see where it takes you. If you come to fire and follow your heart, you can live the dream and see where it takes you. We'll put that into one of the songs. At fire, they give, well, maybe the teacher that recommends fire to the kid, they let you follow your heart and live out your dreams just to see where it takes you. You never know, you might be a star or you might be the moon. You know what's that saying? Aim for the stars, and if you reach the moon, you're still higher than where you started, or something. Aim for the stars, but if you only reach the moon, you, you're still higher than where you started. What's that one? Aim for the stars, but if you reach the moon, you're still further along than where you started, or you're still up there, or something. You still aim for the stars, but if you reach the moon, at least you still get to shine. So that's that. I've just been putting it off because it's like I was like, oh. But then I lost my wee Amby. And I started composing the stuff for her. The Amber Rose, our animated movie, the first movie we're going to make. The first animated movie we're going to make. The first movie we're going to make is Miss Amber's School of Alchemy. Which, like I said, can totally become a musical, for the theatre. It can be turned into a theatre production. It doesn't have to be a musical, but it was originally the Amber Wilkinson's School of Witchcraft was originally going to be my Broadway, but then I turned it into my Harry Potter. But it can still be a theatre production. But Dork the musical can be our Broadway. It can be the musical and on Broadway, just like they do Grease, Rocky Horror Picture Show. That was Broadway movie, Broadway, theatre, movie, theatre. So yeah. So things have shifted in the night, so to speak. And it's my daddy's birthday today, and he's the one that raised me on all the musicals. Brigadoon, Seven Brides for Seven Brothers, Oklahoma. Calamity Jane is one of my all-time favourites. Seven Brides and Calamity Jane are two of my all-time favourite musicals. Grease, Rocky Horror Picture Show, Jesus Christ Superstar. One of the last videos I saw of Amber before she died was of her karaoke in Jesus Christ Superstar. So I haven't dreamt about her since I had that dream where she got on the bus. But it was my dad this time. Happy birthday, Daddy. My sister Erin's best friend, they were like two peas in a pod. And he would have been 88. And 88 is a synchronicity for me. It's yin and yang, mirror images, which is what Dork the Musical is going to be. It's going to be a movie and a Broadway production is going to be mirror images of each other. So I knew that as soon as I woke up, I knew that was my dad's way of saying, work on the musical. Work on Dork. If he was alive today, he would be, oh gosh. He died when he was 59. I've told you the story, doing CPR on him. I was 25. I'm 53 now. But he'd be 88. And if he was alive today, he would be eating up everything that I'm doing. He would be the one, out of all the people in all the world, my dad would be the one that I'd be ringing up and saying, Dad, I came up with another musical. Dad, I did this investigation on the Black Dahlia. What do you reckon? He would have been my go-to guy. You know, when I do my exorcism movie, it's about an ex-cop and the daughter, based on me and my dad, because we used to do all the unsolved stuff together, and he would have been the one I went to. We would have bonded over my creation of what I'm doing for Fire. He I think, would have been my biggest fan. He would have been really proud of me. He would have seen all his years of hard work of getting me to watch those movies and do those investigations with him paying off later on in life. Because I swear to this day, he knew when I was a kid what I was supposed to be as an adult. I think he knew deep down in his heart I was meant to be writing and directing and, you know, these movies and musicals, and he might not have understood the sci-fi stuff in book form and that, but bringing them out into movie to show him physically, he would have totally gotten it. My musicals, I would have gone to him and said, because he was a drummer in a band and that, I would have gone to him and said, so, like, I'm going to do this cabaret about, you know, Satan's going to put on a show, and it's this, and that. He would have been all up in it. Have you finished writing that movie yet? How does it end? He would have loved it. He would have just eaten that stuff up. I just know that it's the sort of thing where I'd turn up with baking. I'd fly over, I'd turn up with baking. We'd sit and eat and talk for hours about movies I'd worked on, about investigations I'd done, you know, on like the Black Dahlia and the Aileen Moore Lighthouse, and that. He would have just soaked this shit up. And then when we cut the ribbon for the opening day of Fire, I would have had him right there. I would have given the scissors to my dad. Because it's because of him that I'm getting into movies and TV. It's all because of him. That's why so many things, George's pies, my brand for my pies, Callahan's fish and chips, it's all after my dad, because I swear he knew what he was creating in me, because we didn't have a lot to discuss, we didn't have a lot in common. He wasn't close to me like he was my other siblings, and my sister Erin was his best friend. But when it came to movies and unsolved mysteries and my baking, that's what we bonded over. He he created everything that I'm building, and yeah. So this dream that I had, I think it was my dad saying, work on the musical now, because he would have loved the musical. He'd love my horrors. I'm telling you now, he would have been my biggest fan. He would have been the one that I went to with all my story ideas and all my investigations. He would have been the one that I spoke to before I put my podcasts out, did my lives. He would have tuned into my lives. He'd tune into my radio stories. He would have been my biggest fan. What I'm building now, once I'm able to put it all out there, he would have finally realised that what little time him and I spent together growing up would pay off, was paying off. Because he thought I was a bit weird, because I cried all the time. He didn't understand what an empath was. He didn't know that. If he did know, but he didn't know that us kids were being abused. That my sister and I were being beaten by our mum, and because he was always away with the army. He just thought that we fought with our mum. I don't think he knew the extent of her hitting us, dragging me across the floor by my hair and stuff, beating me so bad with the wooden spoon that it would break. She went through so many wooden spoons, that woman. The jug cord, her slippers, punches to the head. I don't think he knew any. I don't ever recall taking a hiding from mum with my dad being there. But I don't know. I'm not. I forgave mum because it's all she knew growing up, because she went through worse with her father. So I choose not to. Very early on in motherhood, I chose not to be the mother who punched and, hit my kids with shoes and stuff. I broke that cycle. So, yeah, but he didn't know how to handle me. He was a military man. He thought that if I joined the army, it would toughen me up. But he knew my creative side. And I maybe he didn't know how much sitting with the movies, with watching movies with him and doing the unsolved stuff was going to inspire me to turn me into an occult physicist and a movie maker and composer and director and writer, but I think he did. I think deep down he knew that he was going to inspire me. Horrors, actions, thrillers, musicals, comedies, martial arts, movies. I grew up with all, like Death Wish and Rambos and all the Arnies and that because of my dad. And it inspired me. It said that children, when they feel like they're outcasts, will find ways to bond with the parents or the siblings. They'll find ways to, they'll learn things that person's into so that they have something to bond over. And that's absolutely 100% true. Whenever I'm in a relationship, whenever I'm in friendships and that, I will find common ground so that we have something to bond over. And I truly, truly believe that it's because I was trying to not be an outcast with my dad. So I watched the movies with him because he let me watch the movies with him. I thought, well, if I keep watching the movies and get into the movies, I'll have something in common with my dad and then he'll like me. It's not that my dad didn't like me, he just didn't know how to handle an empath. I was rescuing animals from all the neighbourhood cats, and oh, the amount of times they opened up the hot water cupboard and I'd have birds in there, mice in shoe boxes and that, because I'd rescued them from the cats or found them in fields. And Debbie Doolittle, that was me. I had so many, like, oh, eggs, bringing in eggs that I'd found falling out of nests to keep warm. And yeah, that was me. I was always rescuing birds and mice. And Debbie, let it go. No, Mum, it's not eating yet. Give me another day or two. I'd go in with the little, the eye drops and feed it. Mum would let me heat up milk and soak bread in it so that it was all soppy, and then I would feed it to the birds until they were strong enough to. Yeah, that was me. My dad couldn't understand it, although my dad was a big softy himself. So Aries have some of the biggest hearts next to Scorpio. So anyway, so I'm going to go. So that, I think my dad was saying, do the musical. Now's the time. So there we go. There you go, Dad. I'll dedicate the musical to him. Because see, he was in a band. He was a drummer in a band. There were three of them. But then, of course, he met my mum and that, and he thought, he was a chippy at the time, concrete, like working in construction, working on the concrete, like, laying concrete and all of that. And he thought, well, if I'm going to get married, we're going to have kids. Being Catholic, we're going to have a lot of kids. And this isn't this isn't good money. I need to make better money. So he gave up on his dream of being a singer and, being in entertainment, and joined the army. It was only supposed to be for 12 years, and he was in for over 34 in RF and then TF. So, but yeah, he never got to live his dream of, and he was good. My dad was incredible. My dad was exceptionally talented and unbelievably good looking. They thought he was Elvis, Kiwi Elvis. But he gave it up to, get married to my mum and that. So it's kind of a little bit about him, kind of. There's a bit of him in that story. I just, obviously he's very proud of me, but I just wish that he was alive so that I'd be ringing him up and saying, right, I've finished the musical. This is the story. What do you think? Now would have been the time for him to be proud of me. My parents would have absolutely stepped in and dealt to Chris and what I was put through. I wouldn't have been locked up. I wouldn't have been. They would have sent one of my brothers or someone to come and get me. And yeah, but it is what it is. So Dork the musical. There we go. Happy birthday, Dad. I finished it off for you. So I'm going to go and have my second cup of coffee. I'll speak to you later. Ka kite anō. Happy birthday.